was done like my daddy. Oh shit. Oh fuck. What's going on, yo? Hopefully I don't have spaghetti sauce in my face. I don't have a fork, so I just kind of fucking the shit out of that. Like it was my fucking wife's pussy. Wow. Who said that? I said that. I fucking love eating pussy. Holy shit. One of my favorite things to do, yo, when it comes to me and my wife. Want to go shopping? No, I'd rather sit home and eat something, baby. And then she wants to go shopping after. It's like, oh, you need to finish me then. No, anyways, wow. Alright, so, what's going on? So, let's talk about something. Magic. What about it? Well, when you do magic, what happens whenever the magic stops working? What do you mean? Well, like, you do a spell, and then the spell comes true, but then you lose that. I think this will stay coming. Let's say. Well, then you keep doing more fucking spells, dumbass. That's pretty simple. But if you do it properly, shit'll fucking fix itself. For example, my wife got a raise. I told everybody that. She's doing good. She got a raise. She, from the end of February to, well, right now, let's say, that raise expired. They had to take her. Well, she had it was like a period of time, right? So, I mean, it was set in motion, and then she generally get called back on. But she was told because of the budget, they couldn't put her back on the team. She was actually done. She was a supervisor. Pay decrease, 1 month. Which she did overtime, and she ended up making the same amount. But I think it was last week or a week before, she got a call saying, hey, we got a better offer for you. And so she took it. So, once again, I didn't do any new magic. Stating, hey, I want my wife to go get a better job, better whatever. It just happened. Because if you do your magic right, if you put enough energy into, for example, my wife being a supervisor, getting the job she wants, then that's been created on the astral. So if something happens where circumstances don't allow her to keep doing that, well, it'll work itself out. Simple as that. And I did. So how does one go about making sure they have enough energy on the fucking astral? Well, that's a tricky fucking question. That's what I'm going to try to cover today, at least a little bit. But, you know how I teach. I'll play some shit, derive some meaning from that shit, spin that shit, whatever other shits, shit, fucking boom on the Yamaha, Chrome Cat 1100. I'm in a good mood. You can probably tell. Don't worry, I won't do this fucking conscious, subconscious shit. That was just talking about identities and entities, so I just kind of wanted to fuck around, I guess. There was a small, silly implied lesson in that, so if you got it, great. If you didn't, well, watch it again until you get it. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna fucking spill the beans. I'm done spilling the beans. I'm gonna start making everything all weird and fucking covert and hidden, so that only those who have eyes to see can see. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I've been doing that all along. I'm just hitting messages in every one of my videos that I don't spell out. Like, even though I watch it again and go, oh shit, that worked out really good together because of blah 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 blah. That happens often. So anyways, let's get on with the show and I'll start fucking babbling on. My wife fucking parked all crooked shit. What's going on, everybody? It's dark, but it's actually morning time. Time to get off to work. Woo! I love going to work. Yeah, you know what? I honestly don't mind. Kind of like my job. Some of the people I work with are sometimes not fun to work with, but I mean, fuck, everybody's got shit going on. People got stress. People got responsibilities. A lot of things we can't realize, you know. We can judge all we want, but sometimes it's just not fair. We should really watch the way we judge. But, you know, I'm totally guilty of doing that. So. But anyways, film on camera, yeah. Not very bright. Ugh, so bright. But anyways, so started getting into something yesterday, and I shut it off because I didn't know how to continue.
I was tired. It was getting close to home. I wanted to just jam out with my music and get the fuck home. Mondays are hard. Tuesdays are a little better. Mars energy behind us there. The warrior, protector, the motivator, used properly. So, a little easier today to do a multitude of things. Sorry guys, lighter's below you. You guys are hiding my lighter. Hey. Anyway, so I'm gonna try to record this shit up. Let's see if I can get it. Good. But I guess I want to get into. Yesterday I started talking about how do magic correctly will last. Meaning, with my wife, I casted for her to get a good job. I casted for her to get a bump in salary, a promotion, whatever the case is. And then she got a call the one day. She thought she was going to get in trouble, and I said, I don't think it's a promotion. Why would you not be eligible for a promotion? She didn't think it was going to be. It's not the first thing from her mind. I asked her now, she was like, yeah, you know, I kind of thought it might have been, but I didn't want to get my hopes up, so I told Corey it was crazy, but it's horseshit. Like, I saw the look in her eye. There's no way she thought it was. First thing she said to me was, holy fuck, I wonder what this is now, or what can I, anything's getting worse, something to that effect. I can't remember what. I have an episode about it, it'd be hard to find, but one of the first things I talked about was exactly what she said, and I got it right there. So. But anyways, so, you know, she's lying. She's not lying. She doesn't like to admit that I'm right. It's like magically motivated, but she does know that shit works. And among many other things, I'm going to play for you one of the things that helps her realize what's real. One of the magical things that she would listen to with me when I first started getting her to listen to things with me. And one of the things I think she's done, but I can't tell you for sure. But I think she's done it. So, and this is one of the best things I can play for anybody who would be skeptical. So, funny thing is, not that long ago, well, long enough ago, on my podcast, I was going through my most popular episodes, and I went to the episode before my second most popular episode, which is Satan, Venus, and Saturn and Libra. And the one that way before it was Hermetic Principles and Earl Nightingale. And in that video of Earl Nightingale at the end, I talk about how my daughter gave my information, my YouTube and everything to my sister and my mom. And the reason I was playing the Earl Nightingale again in that episode was because I knew they were now listening to me. And because they're now listening to me, I didn't want them to get freaked out because they think their brother, her brother, or their son is a satanic, Luciferian, witchcraft, devil worshipping, fucking, you know, whatever. And now, once again, I have a couple buddies of mine. I don't know where they stand. I think my one buddy Matt might be worried, but my one buddy Kyle, I'm not too worried about. I think he's more open-minded, and he might, as weird as he might think it is, I don't think he would judge me for being fucking weird. But who knows, right? And my little girls are friends with their little girls, so I hope they wouldn't judge and all that. But at this point in time, I have two buddies of mine who have seen my YouTube channel or my information and know that I'm into witchcraft. We see ceremonial witchcraft, they assume witchcraft, they don't assume ceremonial magic, whatever. Who knows? But my one buddy Damien, who I work with, I guess, got a call from my one buddy Matt saying, hey, what the fuck's going on with Corey, blah, 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 blah. So Damien, who works for me, he didn't ask me about it until like last 2 Fridays ago, telling me this when we were at work. I said, what'd you tell him? I said, well, it's the same old Corey. He's like, I haven't asked him. This is before he asked me about it, but he's like, I'm going to ask him about it, yeah, but I'm like, it seems the same. He just has this interest, passion, or whatever that he does and makes videos about, and is a form of his spirituality more than anything, his beliefs. But it doesn't change who he was. So I was kind of grateful and thankful for him sticking up for me. Although, you know, he might have just told me that to my face. And I actually said that to my friend, but that's, you know, it doesn't matter. I can't prove that. I'm sure he might have probably joked at my expense when we were on the phone, like, whatever. And I mean, that's to be expected. I could do the same with one of them against towards the other one, but you know, it is as it is. But so once again, I'm going to play that clip about Earl Nightingale and the Strangest Secret, which basically, in a nutshell, in a way that's not magical or new age or weird, using philosophers and spiritual teachers and whatever you want to call it throughout time, he uses all that to explain how he has come to the conclusion that what you think about, you bring about. If you want something to happen in your life, you gotta exclusively focus on that one thing. And at the end, he gives you a technique to do. He tells you that if you write something down and put it in your pocket and carry it around for fucking 30 days, look at it before you go to bed, look at it before you go to bed, and look at it once you wake up in the morning, because your mind is in a specific state of mind at that point. It'll come into being faster, and you think about it throughout your day. Take it out once in a while, look at it. And if you do that for 30 days, the thing you wrote down, depending on how big it is, something small, it'll happen pretty fast, maybe before 30 days. If it's something really big, then after 30 days, you're going to start seeing results, and shit start happening towards it. Meaning, if you want an increase in salary of like 100,000 or 200,000, but you're making minimum wage, well then you're going to see steady increases. You might get a raise around that time, and this will be proof that okay, it's working. I got to keep doing the same fucking thing. But you can't expect 100 grand after 30 days in a yearly salary. Plus, casting for your yearly salary to go up, it's something that happens within a year. So your subconscious mind has like a year or two. Come on, man, I can't just give you a fucking yearly bump as of the month. But anyway, so I'm playing this basically for a few reasons. One, this is something my wife has done or watches, at the very least, has watched with me, and it helped. I used to play this all the time whenever she was trying to fall asleep. This is one thing that she didn't mind me playing. She thought it was a little fascinating. She didn't mind it on. She's heard it a few times, and she didn't mind this one because it's not weird. It's not airy-fairy. It's not up in the clouds. It's not magic. It's one of these things I find is an easy segue to get somebody on the hook, so to speak, to think about magic, new age, whatever. And I like using the term new age because new age is something that, sometimes it can be pretty airy-fairy, but other times it can be very naive and not accurate depending on where you look. But this is done in the 50s. 56 is what I say in this clip, and I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it was done in the fucking 50s. I'm pretty positive anyways. So this has been out for a while. It's just until modern advancements of internet and having information everywhere, unless you have this VHS or audio tape that he made this on, you would have no way of knowing Earl Nightingale ever made this. Until the internet came out, and then you're looking at law of attraction stuff, and this thing comes up to help you learn the law of attraction because it's basically stating, in a sense, the law of attraction. But not really. Because this isn't the law of attraction. The law of attraction is something created by the people who made the movie The Secret. I think anyways. Don't quote me on that. Maybe someone else before them made it. I don't know. But which takes a couple hermetic principles into account. And there was a bunny rabbit. Takes a couple of hermetic principles into account to try to teach you something about hermetics. But it doesn't give you the right hermetic principle, and it doesn't give you the whole hermetic principle. It should be attraction and repulsion, because both happen. When you think about, you bring about. But you can think about pushing something away. Meaning you can think about fucking up your health. You can think about becoming poor, and you already have wealthy, and maybe you're fucking rich as shit, but you're scared to lose your riches, your wealth. You could bring about by thinking about you becoming poor. Meaning you can attract whatever the fuck you want, and push away whatever the fuck you want. This is where the witchcraft part comes in handy, because the moon is our guiding system to what time of month is better for pulling stuff to us, or pushing stuff to us, or pushing stuff out of us, or pulling stuff out of us, however you want to word it. But that's all it is. You really want to break down this as a science. The moon, you can get rid of all the deities, all the goddesses, all the weird fucking scrying crystal ball shit, pointy hats, flying on brooms, using fucking mushrooms to see shit, all that. Get rid of all that. What does it come down to? When you think about it, you bring about. Thoughts, we don't accept thoughts. Sorry, we treat thoughts as if they're fucking offers to accept. Okay? And then once that, you get that handled, okay? You don't want all these thoughts coming in, you banish them. You banish the ones you don't want. Like, I'm never gonna be free. I'm never gonna be fucking loved. I'm never gonna be rich. Banish, 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 banish. Okay, I'm gonna be pretty, loved, and rich. Okay, accept that thought. I want to bring that into being. Okay, so you add energy to it. What you bring about, you think about. What you think about, you bring about. What you focus on, expand. So you put energy into that. So much energy into that, using the right stage of the fucking moon. This is the simplest way to explain what the fuck we're doing. And anybody out there who's skeptical, or maybe one of my friends watching, whatever the case is, all I would say is, once again, this is the type of spirituality that I have realized that can help you manifest things in your life. Now, it isn't a perfect science, but it's a work in progress. I'm trying to figure this shit out. As I figure things out and I have good results, I talk about them. Or I talk about philosophies and psychologies that have either helped me or that have fucked me up in the past to try to help you. That's it. And it's one of these things that I didn't know what to believe in anymore, because I no longer believed in traditional God, Jesus, all that shit, because I know that's false. There's enough research to know that never happened. It's all mythological. Now, knowing it's mythological is more real than it ever was to me prior to that, because it's archetypal now, and that makes more sense. Nonetheless, there's these 7 fucking planets that are the 7 days of the week, that are 7 energies within our body, like fucking 7 musical notes, and 7 deadly sins, and 7 oceans, and 7 continents, and all these 7 fucking things, whatever they are. And these things are within us. These things have been personified as gods. But it's because when you do specific things with these energies, you can do specific things, bring specific things into your life. And this is what I've done through trial and error, and it has worked. Okay? Using the sun, I can bring specific things in. Not the same things as using Venus. If I try to use something that I would normally use Venus for, that I would use the sun for, it's not going to work. Or maybe it will, depending on certain specific times, but... And what I would use Saturn for versus Mars versus Mercury versus Jupiter versus the moon. Did I forget somebody? I feel like I did. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But so these are all things that are within our body. And there's hella more, but all these things are within my body, or within everybody's body. You can also use these within other people's bodies to fuck them up and do fucked up shit. And that's where witchcraft gets its bad name, because yeah, of course, if you can make stuff happen to you, you can also make stuff happen to other people. It can be used both ways. Once again, the drugs, the guns, the knives, they're not bad. It's the way fucking people use them, okay? And this is no different than that. It's a type of something that you can use to your benefit, or you can use it to fuck people up and fuck shit up. It's up to you, really. And if you're not balanced, in my experience, most of the time, if you're not a balanced person, you don't really find this shit. And there are some narcissistic people and some fucked up people that find this and, do some pretty shitty things at times, but for the most part it doesn't last, because everything returns to source. Meaning, you're going to put out really bad energy out there. This is where the idea of karma comes around, which doesn't really mean what most people think it means, but in a certain way it kind of works that way. And what I mean to say is, you put out bad energy, you're going to affect a bunch of people, but eventually that bad energy comes back to you, because you created it, you originated it. Just like if you put out good energy, the good energy comes back to you. You created it, you originated it. That's how that works. So, and that's where karma comes from. And, most people are going to get pretty sick and tired of getting the bad energy. The reason why a lot of people don't believe in karma all the time is just because it takes them a while to see the results. But anyways, that's besides the point. So all we're trying to get at there is simply, this is what I'm into. For anybody out there who used to be a friend or is a friend, or whatever the case is, who's worried about me, don't fucking worry about it. It's your fucking job to worry about me, okay? Don't give a fuck what you think about. I don't go up to you and fucking ask you about your fucking kinky sex life things, the weird things you fucking do, or the fucking drugs you do on the weekend, or how much you fucking drink. Don't worry about my pastime. I'm not drinking and doing drugs anymore. I'm simply fucking trying to figure out some laws of nature by studying old spiritualities, hermeticism, and a whole bunch of different words that I can mention that you might not know what I mean. And that's not to be a rude prick, even though I come off that way, but I'm just simply trying to explore these things. And because there was a specific point in time in my life where I was desperate and I didn't want to go back to work and I was worried about a whole bunch of things and I was put in fear. So I used this as a last resort. But once I started using this stuff, I realized I got results. And then from there, my wife's got a promotion, I've been doing a job, I'm happy, days, whatever. Our bills have been paid, you know, we've been getting these steady gains to the point where I actually have money in the bank now and I'm able to, you know, we never go without. We're doing pretty good, me and my wife now. We haven't gone without in a long fucking time. Let's just say that. There's normally always money in the bank. So it's not much, but we're grateful for even if we have $10 before our next payday. And because we do that, because she and I have changed both our mindsets drastically, and we no longer have to worry about shit. Everything has been working phenomenally. So I know without a doubt this shit works. And now it's just a matter of tweaking it and getting it to work for me in the best way possible. But anyways, without further ado, here we go. I'm going to give you a little taste of what you're about to hear. Okay, here's a little clip.
But how many can you find? Someone once said the human race is fixed, not to prevent the strong from winning, but to prevent the weak from losing. The American economy today can be likened to a convoy in time of war. The entire economy is slowed down to protect its weakest link, just as the convoy had to go at the speed that would permit its slowest vessel to remain in formation. That's why it's so easy to make a living today. It takes no particular brains or talent to make a living and support a family today. So we have a plateau of so-called security, if that's what a person is looking for. But we do have to decide how high above this plateau we want to aim. Now let's get back to the strangest secret in the world, the story that I wanted to tell you today. Why do men with goals succeed in life and men without them fail? Well, let me tell you something which, if you really understand it, will alter your life immediately. If you understand completely what I'm going to tell you from this moment on, your life will never be the same again. You'll suddenly find that good luck just seems to be attracted to you. The things you want just seem to fall in line, and from now on you won't have the problems, the worries, the gnawing lump of anxiety that perhaps you've experienced before. Doubt, fear, well, they'll be things of the past. Here's the key to success, and the key to failure. We become what we think about. Now let me say that again. We become what we think about. Throughout all history, the great wise men and teachers...
What a tease I am playing that. We become what we think about. And then he'll proceed to tell you all the wise men that say it, and why it's true, and whatever else. So, I suggest you listen to it. And you don't even have to go look for it, or YouTube it, or search it. I'm going to play it for you right here, right now. I'm going to hit the restart button and restart this whole thing over and let you hear it from the beginning. But before I do that, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who's subscribing and liking and whatever. I think I'm at 78, very close to the 80 mark, which is pretty fucking cool. Yeah, I believe. Anyways, I'm just gonna get to the video now, and I'm gonna come on after and dissect that shit. So yeah, here we go. Earl Nightingale, baby.
Alright, so the pictures I just had there that you see is this big glow around the moon. This looks like a planet. I'm trying to catch it on film here, but I can't seem to get it. There's a circle going right around the moon. I can see it better in the photos. It's fucking beautiful. Planet Earth trying to come into our atmosphere. The moon's not even a full circle. Anyways, I just wanted to show everybody how beautiful the moon and the circle around it is. It's fucking amazing. Alright, so it's hard to see me. There you go, now you can see me. Okay, so yeah, it's just a picture of the moon. It looks fucking beautiful. Just wanted to show you what it is. But anyways, to get on to the show, this is Earl Nightingale, and I play the full thing. This is the newer version, edited version. It's not much different from the original. I've listened to the original. The original is also on YouTube. You can look for it. If I think of it, I'll put links, but I haven't been putting links in a while, so don't hold your breath for that. But it's just the simplest way to do manifestation. And it's kind of the affirmation route. It's using the principles and the techniques of how affirmations work, but using it as in also using the power of writing. And if you do, like I said, you make the statement, put it in your pocket, look at it when you wake up, look at it before bed. You're using a different technique. There's the moon in the background now. You can't quite see the fucking glow around it though. It's too bad. It looks fucking sick. You can look up and you can see the fucking circle around it. It looks so cool. But anyways, yeah, so it incorporates, it's like doing an affirmation, but the affirmation is always on your body. You know, you think about it, you read it, you pull it out, whip it out, look at it a few times a day. But having it on your body, you know, helps you embody it. It helps you add energy to it every day. And, you know, the first clip of my video, the part I recorded yesterday, I was talking about how to add energy to something. And I said it's going to be, it's a little more complicated how to put enough energy into an idea. Like, for example, my wife getting a promotion. She got a promotion, but it was a, how do they word that at her work? It's a type of contract. It's a limited amount of time. Indeterminate. Anyways, the special word they use, I can't think of it. But anyways, generally what happens is whenever that time runs out, they get an extension added on to their position, where she didn't get that. And, you know, she was semi-relieved because what she was doing was not what she really wanted to do. So in a sense, I was like, okay, well, maybe that's why it worked out, because she wasn't really happy with this position. But in the same sense, it's like, well, I casted for her to get a promotion. She got the promotion, and now it's getting taken away from her. To me, it fucked me up a little bit. I was wondering a little bit why, you know. And then now I know why. She got that job. She did a hell of a job, and then her acting. It's an acting. Her acting was for 4 months. Okay, that's what they call it. It was a supervisor job. An acting supervisor job for 4 months. Her salary was up to like $75,000. But then she went back down to like her $68,000 that she makes. And then now she's back up to, I think now it's like $78,000 that she's gonna be making as of April 1st, I think it is. April Fool's. Which would be a harsh fucking April Fool's joke. But point is, how do you put so much energy into something? Well, this is one way. So if you are doing a spell, let's say you're manifesting something, keep the moon in the shot. Say you're trying to manifest something, you're doing candle magic every night, you're doing a ritual, you're doing it within your practice. Well, if you want to add something to it, you write on that piece of paper the spell that you've been adding to that candle, and you can walk around with it, and you look at it every day, especially if you're just beginning. See, I don't need to do that anymore, unless it's something really important, or there's something I really need to add a lot of energy to make it real. But the issue with doing it this way is because you're supposed to set it and forget it. So this is something that used to confuse me when I first started. If you're doing the affirmation route, you have to do it consecutively for at least 21 days, but a month is, you know, just making it even more foolproof. And then you move on to the next goal, and you have complete faith that that was going to manifest, and you don't think about it anymore. Anytime you do think about it, you say out loud in your head, whatever, that I'm grateful that this manifested. This way you're adding the right energy to it, and then you let it go once again. But so if you're trying to manifest something big and you want to add a lot of energy into it, well, this is one way to do that. This is how you can look at it as you're trying to add energy to create it on the astral, so that if it exists in the astral, it'll exist in this plane. It has to become down in this plane. You can't have something in the astral and then something not here. It has to be whatever's in the astral. There's one way to look at it. The other way is that, you know, it takes that long to build a new habit, to get something in the subconscious mind. My last video, it said habits trump your identity. So let's say you want to use this to change something about you. Say you're not confident. Say you're shy. Say you have trouble talking with women, whatever the case is. Well, if you want to change that, you do this technique. You make a habit out of, you write down on that piece of paper, you put it in your pocket, you look at it every fucking day. You'll hear it. I'm going to play it right now for you, but this is a good way to add that energy to it because it's always on your body. You're looking at it a minimum of twice a day, but if you're smart, you're going to do it more than twice a day. You're going to look at it throughout the day as many times as you can, say it out loud or say it in your head. But anyways, this is one way to add a lot of energy into what you want to do. It's the affirmation round. You can add it in coordination with what you are manifesting. Now you can take into account the moon phases. So the moon right now is growing to full, so it's a good time to call something to you. You want to call money to you. You want to become something new. You want to become outgoing and charismatic and a guy who can easily speak to women and have women think you are interesting and maybe sexual magnetism, something to that effect. I'm having trouble finding the right words. Well, you can do that now. When the moon gets to full and it starts going down to nothing, is a good time to banish the opposite away of what you've been doing. So, but what I would say is if you're doing this for 30 days, just stick with the same thing, whatever you're doing, if this is your first time doing it. But you can also, if you're going to write on that paper that you have you're grateful for the incredible sexual magnetism that you have, that every woman around you finds you sexually attractive and magnetic. Keep that in your pocket, do that for 30 days. When the moon starts waning, what I would simply do is banish with candle magic. Right on the candle that I'm so grateful for banishing all the things, everything that has prevented me from being sexually magnetic. I really hard for somebody to be. This way you're still adding energy for you being sexually magnetic, and you're banishing away the things that would stop you from doing that. So that could be everything from little things that you do, you say, that, whatever the case is. Who knows what it is? It's not for you to know what's wrong with you, or, it's like when you're trying to manifest money. You can write that you're grateful you found $3,000 on the ground, but you're better off to just be grateful for having the $3,000 and letting the subconscious, the divine, whatever you want to call it, the universe, find the path of least resistance for the money to get to you. This way, there's many ways it can get to you, and it'll happen faster. Because if you're telling the universe that you want it this specific way, well, it's going to take a lot longer for it to line up that circumstance. It's not just going to happen like that. Versus if you let it figure out how to get you the $3,000 and you just cast for what you want, binding down the action not wanted and removing the things that are blocking you, well then it's going to happen a hell of a lot faster. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to get into the last part, and I may chime in at the end, or this might be the end of the video. So if it's the end of the video, I hope you enjoyed, and have a great day, and thank you to everybody who keeps subscribing. I'm almost at 80 subscribers, 79 now, and I think that's fucking fantastic, and I'm thankful and grateful for every last one of you. Keep the comments flowing too, everybody. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Have a great day.
How to depolarize and all that in a little bit. But first I'm going to go to Earl Nightingale's information that I've already previously played, but I do believe is important for anybody who might be just starting to tune in, like my mother or my sister, for example, because like I said, my daughter told them about my stuff, so they looked it up. So I don't want them to be all freaked out about all the shit I put on here, thinking I'm fucking nuts. And, it'd be a valid point if they just start looking at some of my later videos. But anyways, Earl Nightingale, the stuff he teaches is something from, I want to say it's 56 is what the numbers come to the top of my head. It could be a different year, but this was something he had on a record for people for self-improvement that he did in the 50s, and it's coming out now because thanks to the internet and everybody having information all the time everywhere. So it is key. Sorry, I was just texting my levels. They didn't seem very high, and I don't want people to be able to hear me because I mumble and I talk fast. But anyways, so this has come back out. He's got multiple videos. This one's only a half an hour long, but he's got some that are hour long. And I'm going to put the link for it here. I put a link in there yesterday also in my other videos. I put multiple. I want to apologize for having the speaker too close to the mic in the first episode I put out yesterday. The second one was basically all the book, except for I talk a bit at the beginning and I talk for maybe 10 minutes in the middle. So check that out. I don't know the actual time, but anyways, that first one, the book was too close to the mic and it sounds shitty. So I put the link for that. They're also on my YouTube page, but I put the link for that there, and I'm going to put the link for Earl Nightingale's shit as well there for everybody to check out. Sorry about that. Just waiting for my stepson to leave the room. But, so yeah, I'm going to play that again here. And it's not just to kill time. It's just because I want people to hear this stuff. If they can't, for some reason the links don't work, or they can't find it, this way it's there for you. And this works. This stuff works. What he's talking about. He goes in first, why the problem with society today being that people just don't think. They don't use their mind properly, and from that to how he tells you to fix your problem is all valid information, and I've tried it and it works, and I know other people that tried it and it works, so please don't dismiss them. But anyways, sorry for yesterday for that part being shitty. That book is on YouTube free of charge, Outwitting the Devil. I had it way too close and I had no idea because I put it on and I kind of left and did my own thing, which I got to stop doing. I got to monitor this, make sure nothing goes wrong. But the whole book, Outwitting the Devil, is on YouTube. I saved just the conversation into my one of my playlists on there, as well as the Kabbalions also on one of my playlists on my YouTube channel, which is, it used to be Corey LeBlanc, but I think it might be now Ceremonial Witchcraft. I don't know if it changed yet or not. It's a change I did a while ago that never took place. So if you can't find the Corey LeBlanc YouTube page anymore, it's probably now Ceremonial Witchcraft. But one of those two will bring it up for you. But if not, you just hit the links that are on here. It's not going to take you to my page, but it's going to take you to the pages I saved these files from. But anyways, I hope you enjoy. And I'll be back on after this to keep talking about polarity and probably talk about what he's talking about. All right, enjoy.
I'd like to tell you about the strangest secret in the world. Some years ago, the late Nobel Prize-winning Dr. Albert Schweitzer was being interviewed in London, and a reporter asked him, "Doctor, what's wrong with men today?" And the great doctor was silent a moment, and then he said, "Men simply don't think." It's about this that I want to talk with you. We live today in a golden age. This is an era that man has looked forward to, dreamed of, and worked toward for thousands of years. But since it's here, we pretty well take it for granted. We in America are particularly fortunate to live in the richest land that ever existed on the face of the earth, a land of abundant opportunity for everyone. But do you know what happens? Well, let's take 100 men who start even at the age of 25. Do you have any idea what will happen to those men by the time they're 65? These 100 men who all start even at the age of 25 believe they're going to be successful. If you asked any one of these men if he wanted to be a success, he'd tell you he did. And you'd notice that he was eager toward life, that there was a certain sparkle to his eye, a directness to his carriage, and life seemed like a pretty interesting adventure to him. But by the time they're 65, 1 will be rich. 4 will be financially independent. 5 will still be working. 54 will be broke. Now think a moment. Out of the 100, only 5 make the grade. Now why do so many fail? What has happened to the sparkle that was there when they were 25? What's become of the dreams, the hopes, the plans? And why is there such a large disparity between what these men intended to do and what they actually accomplished? When we say about 5% achieve success, we have to define success. And here's the best definition I've ever been able to find. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. If a man is working toward a predetermined goal and knows where he's going, that man is a success. If he's not doing that, he's a failure. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Rollo May, the distinguished psychiatrist, wrote a wonderful book called Man's Search for Himself. And in this book he says, the opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice. It is conformity. And there you have the trouble today. It's conformity. People acting like everyone else without knowing why, without knowing where they're going. Now think of it. In America right now, there are over 18 million people 65 years of age and older. And most of them are broke. They're dependent on someone else for life's necessities. Now, we learn to read by the time we're 7. We learn to make a living by the time we're 25. Usually by that time, we're not only making a living, we're supporting a family. And yet, by the time we're 65, we haven't learned how to become financially independent in the richest land that has ever been known. Why? We conform. And the trouble is that we're acting like the wrong percentage group, the 95 who don't succeed. Now, why do these people conform? Well, they really don't know. These people believe that their lives are shaped by circumstances, by things that happen to them, by exterior forces. They're outer-directed people. A survey was made one time that covered a lot of men, working men, and these men were asked, why do you work? Why do you get up in the morning? 19 out of 20 had no idea. If you ask them, they'll say, well, everyone goes to work in the morning, and that's the reason they do it, because everyone else is doing it. Now let's get back to our definition of success. Who succeeds? The only person who succeeds is the person who is progressively realizing a worthy ideal. Is the person who says, I'm going to become this, and then begins to work toward that goal. I'll tell you who the successful people are. A success is the school teacher who's teaching school because that's what he or she wants to do. The success is the woman who's a wife and mother because she wanted to become a wife and mother and is doing a good job of it. The success is the man who runs the corner gas station because that was his dream. That's what he wanted to do. The success is the successful salesman who wants to become a top-notch salesman and grow and build with his organization. A success is anyone who is doing deliberately a predetermined job because that's what he decided to do deliberately. But only 1 out of 20 does that. That's why today there isn't really any competition unless we make it for ourselves. Instead of competing, all we have to do is create. You know, for 20 years I looked for the key which would determine what would happen to a human being. Was there a key I wanted to know which would make the future a promise that we could foretell to a large extent? Was there a key that would guarantee a person's becoming successful if he only knew about it and knew how to use it? Well, there is such a key, and I found it. Have you ever wondered why so many men work so hard and honestly without ever achieving anything in particular, and others don't seem to work hard and yet seem to get everything? They seem to have the magic touch. You've heard them say that about someone. Everything he touches turns to gold. And have you ever noticed that a man who becomes successful tends to continue to become successful? And on the other hand, have you noticed how a man who's a failure tends to continue to fail? Well, it's because of goals. Some of us have goals, some don't. People with goals succeed because they know where they're going. It's that simple. Think of a ship leaving a harbor, and think of it with the complete voyage mapped out and planned. The captain and crew know exactly where it's going and how long it'll take. It has a definite goal. Now, 9,999 times out of 10,000, it will get to where it started out to get. Now let's take another ship, just like the first, only let's not put a crew on it or a captain at the helm. Let's give it no aiming point, no goal, no destination. We just start the engines and let it go. I think you'll agree with me that if it gets out of the harbor at all, it'll either sink or wind up on some deserted beach, a derelict. It can't go anyplace because it has no destination and no guidance, and it's the same with a human being. Take the salesman, for example. There's no other person in the world today with the future of a good salesman. Selling is the world's highest paid profession, if we're good at it, and if we know where we're going. Every company needs top-notch salesmen, and they reward those men. The sky's the limit for them. But how many can you find? Someone once said the human race is fixed, not to prevent the strong from winning, but to prevent the weak from losing. The American economy today can be likened to a convoy in time of war. The entire economy is slowed down to protect its weakest link, just as the convoy had to go at the speed that would permit its slowest vessel to remain in formation. That's why it's so easy to make a living today. It takes no particular brains or talent to make a living and support a family today. So we have a plateau of so-called security, if that's what a person is looking for. But we do have to decide how high above this plateau we want to aim. Now let's get back to the strangest secret in the world, the story that I wanted to tell you today. Why do men with goals succeed in life and men without them fail? Now let's get back to the strangest secret in the world, the story that I wanted to tell you today. Why do men with goals succeed in life and men without them fail? Well, let me tell you something which, if you really understand it, will alter your life immediately. If you understand completely what I'm going to tell you from this moment on, your life will never be the same again. You'll suddenly find that good luck just seems to be attracted to you. The things you want just seem to fall in line, and from now on you won't have the problems, the worries, the gnawing lump of anxiety that perhaps you've experienced before. Doubt, fear, well, there'll be things that withstand it, will alter your life immediately. If you understand completely what I'm going to tell you from this moment on, your life will never be the same again. You'll suddenly find that good luck just seems to be attracted to you. The things you want just seem to fall in line, and from now on you won't have the problems, the worries, the gnawing lump of anxiety that perhaps you've experienced before. Doubt, fear, well, there'll be things of the past. Here's the key to success, and the key to failure. We become what we think about. Now let me say that again. We become what we think about. Throughout all history, the great wise men and teachers, philosophers and prophets have disagreed with one another on many different things. It's only on this one point that they are in complete and unanimous agreement. Listen to what Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, said. A man's life is what his thoughts make of it. Disraeli said this. Everything comes if a man will only wait. I've brought myself by long meditation to the conviction that a human being with a settled purpose must accomplish it, and that nothing can resist a will that will stake even existence for its fulfillment. Ralph Waldo Emerson said this, a man is what he thinks about all day long. William James said, the greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. And he also said, we need only in cold blood act as if the thing in question were real, and it will become infallibly real by growing into such a connection with our life that it will become real. It will become so knit with habit and emotion that our interest in it will be those which characterize belief. And he also said, if you only care enough for a result, you will almost certainly attain it. If you wish to be rich, you will be rich. If you wish to be learned, you will be learned. If you wish to be good, you will be good. Only you must then really wish these things and wish them exclusively, and not wish at the same time 100 other incompatible things just as strongly. In the Bible you read in Mark 9:23, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. My old friend Dr. Norman Vincent Peale put it this way, this is one of the greatest laws in the universe. Fervently do I wish I had discovered it as a very young man. It dawned upon me much later in life, and I found it to be one of the greatest, if not my greatest discovery outside of my relationship to God. The great law, briefly and simply stated, is that if you think in negative terms, you will get negative results. If you think in positive terms, you will achieve positive results. That is the simple fact, he went on to say, which is at the basis of an astonishing law of prosperity and success. In 3 words, believe and succeed. William Shakespeare put it this way, our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. George Bernard Shaw said, people are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, make them. Well, it's pretty apparent, isn't it? And every person who discovered this for a while believed that he was the first one to work it out. We become what we think about. Now, it stands to reason that a person who's thinking about a concrete and worthwhile goal is going to reach it, because that's what he's thinking about, and we become what we think about. Conversely, the man who has no goal, who doesn't know where he's going, and whose thoughts must therefore be thoughts of confusion and anxiety and fear and worry, becomes what he thinks about. His life becomes one of frustration and fear and anxiety and worry. And if he thinks about nothing, he becomes nothing. Now, how does it work? Why do we become what we think about? Well, I'll tell you how it works as far as we know. Now, to do this, I want to tell you about a situation that parallels the human mind. Suppose a farmer has some land, and it's good fertile land. Now, the land gives the farmer a choice. He may plant in that land whatever he chooses. The land doesn't care. It's up to the farmer to make the decision. Now remember, we're comparing the human mind with the land because the mind, like the land, doesn't care what you plant in it. It will return what you plant, but it doesn't care what you plant. Now let's say that the farmer has 2 seeds in his hand. One is a seed of corn, the other is nightshade, a deadly poison. He digs 2 little holes in the earth and he plants both seeds, one corn, the other nightshade. He covers up the holes, waters and takes care of the land, and what will happen? Invariably, the land will return what's planted. As it's written in the Bible, as ye sow, so shall ye reap. Now remember, the land doesn't care. It'll return poison in just as wonderful abundance as it will corn. So up come the two plants. One corn, one poison. Now the human mind is far more fertile, far more incredible and mysterious than the land, but it works the same way. It doesn't care what we plant. Success, failure. A concrete, worthwhile goal, or confusion. Misunderstanding, fear, anxiety, and so on. But what we plant, it must return to us. You see, the human mind is the last great unexplored continent on Earth. It contains riches beyond our wildest dreams. It will return anything we want to plant. Now you might say, well, if that's true, why don't people use their minds more? Well, I think they figured out an answer to that one, too. Our mind comes as standard equipment at birth. It's free, and things that are given to us for nothing we place little value on. Things that we pay money for, we value. The paradox is that exactly the reverse is true. Everything that's really worthwhile in life came to us free. Our minds, our souls, our bodies, our hopes, our dreams, our ambitions, our intelligence, our love of family and children and friends and country, all these priceless possessions are free. But the things that cost us money are actually very cheap and can be replaced at any time. A good man can be completely wiped out and make another fortune. He can do that several times. Even if our home burns down, we can rebuild it. But the things we got for nothing, we can never replace. The human mind isn't used because we take it for granted. Familiarity breeds contempt. It can do any kind of job we assign to it, but generally speaking, we use it for little jobs instead of big important ones. Universities have proved that most of us are operating on about 10% or less of our abilities. So decide now, what is it you want? Plant your goal in your mind. It's the most important decision you ever make in your entire life.
Make sure my headset wasn't plugged in. I already said goodbye, but I just want to state something, okay? This information by Earl Nightingale is transformative and it'll really help you. Now, if you really want to try manifesting something and you're a little leery about magic and you don't want to get into ritual and all that, this is probably the best thing you can do and start. The things he's going to say in this. Now, if you also want to help yourself, I don't know if you like to go to bed with headphones on or a book on or anything, but I think this is about 30 minutes long in total, maybe 40 minutes. Put this on every night when you go to sleep, as at the same time as you're doing the thing or not. Even if you're not doing the thing yet, if you can listen to this for at least 21 or 30 days in a row, you will set the programming in your mind that this is possible. Now, this is already possible, but the more often you listen to this, the more possible it will become. It's probably the best thing you can do is listen to this once a day. Even if you don't finish it, but once a day you put it on and you listen to it. That's what I do with the microcosmic orbit. I put that on every time I go to bed. It's the first thing I listen to, and then I have a specific playlist, and then I put on other things. But I listen to this also every day for probably 60 days. And it made the programming possible that you can manifest stuff by thinking about stuff. But what you think about, you bring about. Plus everything else he says is in here is very valuable information. So I just want to add that to there. If you are going to turn this off and not listen to Earl Nightingale, that's your prerogative. If you already heard it, then that's fine. But if you're serious, instead of just assuming you already know this or it's going to be useless or you don't want to listen to it, I'm asking you, seriously, you should really listen to the words he's about to share with you. This information is unbelievably useful and helpful, and he was doing it to help mankind. When he says man, he means woman as well. Humankind. And this can change your life knowing this information, because it's literally what happens. It's literally how the thing is processed, how you manifest stuff into your life, whether you know it or not. So if you really want to do yourself, if you want to get the full force out of this, because you can start manifesting what you want using this technique he's about to share with you. The best way to do it is to do exactly what he says, how he says to do it, and in addition to that, as you're doing this, to listen to this once a day. I would say go to sleep with it on, so this way you don't have to waste time throughout your day, but you know, you're doing the dishes, put it on. You're driving somewhere, you know, you don't want to listen to music, put it on, whatever the case is, but it'll help. If you can listen to it more than once a day, that'll help, but once a day, and I'd say even, you know, when you're laying down, you look at your thing before bed or whatever, then you put this on. That'll help you think about your ideals. But you know what I mean? It's just going to make it that much faster to happen for you. It might even happen before the 30 days is up. So just something to think
think about. I wonder. Anyways, thanks again. Have yourselves a good
Be wiped out and make another fortune. You can do that several times. Even if our home burns down, we can rebuild it. But the things we got for nothing, we can never replace. The human mind isn't used because we take it for granted. Familiarity breeds contempt. It can do any kind of job we assign to it, but generally speaking, we use it for little jobs instead of big, important ones. Universities have proved that most of us are operating on about 10% or less of our abilities. So decide now. What is it you want? Plant your goal in your mind. It's the most important decision you ever make in your entire life. What is it you want? Do you want to be an outstanding salesman? A better worker at your particular job? Do you want to go places in your company? In your community? Do you want to get rich? All you've got to do is plant that seed in your mind, care for it, work steadily toward your goal, and it will become a reality. It not only will, there's no way that it cannot. You see, that's a law, like the laws of Sir Isaac Newton, the laws of gravity. If you get on top of a building and jump off, you'll always go down. You'll never go up. And it's the same with all the other laws of nature. They always work. They're inflexible. Think about your goal in a relaxed, positive way. Picture yourself in your mind's eye as having already achieved this goal. See yourself doing the things you will be doing when you've reached your goal. Ours has been called the phenobarbital age, the age of ulcers and nervous breakdowns and tranquilizers. At a time when medical research has raised us to a new plateau of good health and longevity, far too many of us worry ourselves into an early grave trying to cope with things in our own little personal ways without learning a few great laws that will take care of everything for us. These things we bring on ourselves through our habitual way of thinking. Every one of us is the sum total of his own thoughts. He is where he is because that's exactly where he really wants to be, whether he'll admit that or not. Each of us must live off the fruit of his thoughts in the future, because what you think today and tomorrow, next month and next year, will mold your life and determine your future. You're guided by your mind. I remember one time I was driving through eastern Arizona and I saw one of those giant earth-moving machines roaring along the road at about 35 miles an hour with what looked like 30 tons of dirt in it. A tremendous, incredible machine. And there was a little man perched way up on top with the wheel in his hands guiding it. And as I drove along, I was struck by the similarity of that machine to the human mind. Just suppose you're sitting at the controls of such a vast source of energy. Are you going to sit back and fold your arms and let it run itself into a ditch? Or are you going to keep both hands firmly on the wheel and control and direct this power to a specific, worthwhile purpose? It's up to you. You're in the driver's seat. You see, the very law that gives us success is a two-edged sword. We must control our thinking. The same rule that can lead a man to a life of success, wealth, happiness, and all the things he ever dreamed of for himself and his family. That very same law can lead him into the gutter. It's all in how he uses it, for good or for bad. This is the strangest secret in the world. Now, why do I say it's strange, and why do I call it a secret? Actually, it isn't a secret at all. It was first promulgated by some of the earliest wise men, and it appears again and again throughout the Bible, but very few people have learned it, understand it. That's why it's strange, and why for some equally strange reason it virtually remains a secret. I believe that you could go out and walk down the main street of your town and ask the secret of success. Learned it, understand it. That's why it's strange, and why for some equally strange reason it virtually remains a secret. I believe that you could go out and walk down the main street of your town and ask one man after another what the secret of success is, and you probably wouldn't run into one man in a month who could tell you. Now, this information is enormously valuable to us if we really understand it and apply it. It's valuable to us not only for our own lives, but the lives of those around us, our families, employees, associates, and friends. Life should be an exciting adventure. It should never be a bore. A man should live fully, be alive. He should be glad to get out of bed in the morning. He should be doing a job he likes to do because he does it well. One time I heard Grove Patterson, the great late editor-in-chief of the Toledo Daily Blade, make a speech, and as he concluded his speech, he said something I've never forgotten. He said, "My years in the newspaper business have convinced me of several things. Among them, that people are basically good, and that we came from someplace, and we're going someplace. So we should make our time here an exciting adventure. The architect of the universe didn't build a stairway leading nowhere." And the greatest teacher of all, the carpenter from the plains of Galilee, gave us the secret time and time again. As ye believe, so shall it be done unto you. I've explained the strangest secret in the world and how it works. Now, on this side, I want to explain how you can prove to yourself the enormous returns possible in your own life by putting the secret to a practical test. I want you to make a test that will last 30 days. It isn't going to be easy, but if you'll give it a good try, it will completely change your life for the better. Now, back in the 17th century, Sir Isaac Newton, the English mathematician and natural philosopher, gave us some natural laws of physics which apply as much to human beings as they do to the movement of bodies in the universe. And one of these laws is that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Simply stated, as it applies to you and me, it means we can achieve nothing without paying the price. The results of your 30-day experiment will be in direct proportion to the effort you put forth. To be a doctor, you must pay the price of long years of difficult study. To be successful in selling, and remember that each of us succeeds to the extent of his ability to sell. Selling our families on our ideas, selling education in schools, selling our children on the advantages of living the good and honest life, selling our associates and employees on the importance of being exceptional people. To, of course, the profession of selling itself. But to be successful in selling our way to the good life, we must be willing to pay the price. Now, what is that price? Well, it's many things. First, it's understanding emotionally as well as intellectually that we literally become what we think about, that we must control our thoughts if we're to control our lives. It's understanding fully that as ye sow, so shall ye reap. Second, it's cutting away all fetters from the mind and permitting it to soar as it was divinely designed to do. It's the realization that your limitations are self-imposed and that the opportunities for you today are enormous beyond belief. It's rising above narrow-minded pettiness and prejudice. And third, it's using all your courage to force yourself to think positively on your own problem, to set a definite and clearly defined goal for yourself, to let your marvelous mind think about your goal from all possible angles, to let your imagination speculate freely upon many different possible solutions, to refuse to believe that there are any circumstances sufficiently strong to defeat you in the accomplishment of your purpose, to act promptly and decisively when your course is clear, and to keep constantly aware of the fact that you are, at this moment, standing in the middle of your own acres of diamonds, as Russell Conwell used to point out. And fourth, save at least 10% of every dollar you earn. It's also remembering that no matter what your present job, it has enormous possibilities if you're willing to pay the price. Now let's just go over the important points in the price each of us must pay to achieve the wonderful life that can be ours. It is, of course, worth any price. 1. You will become what you think about. 2. Remember the word imagination and let your mind begin to soar. 3. Courage. Concentrate on your goal every day. 4. Save 10% of what you earn. And 5. Action. Ideas are worthless unless we act on them. Now, I'll try to outline the 30-day test I want you to make. Keep in mind that you have nothing to lose by making this test and everything you could possibly want to gain. There are two things that may be said of everyone. Each of us wants something, and each of us is afraid of something. I want you to write on a card what it is you want more than anything else. It may be more money. Perhaps you'd like to double your income or make a specific amount of money. It may be a beautiful home. It may be success at your job. It may be a particular position in life. It could be a more harmonious family. Each of us wants something. Now write down on your card specifically what it is you want. Make sure it's a single goal and clearly defined. You needn't show it to anyone, but carry it with you so that you can look at it several times a day. Think about it in a cheerful, relaxed, positive way each morning when you get up. And immediately you have something to work for, something to get out of bed for, something to live for. Look at it every chance you get during the day and just before going to bed at night. And as you look at it, remember that you must become what you think about, and since you're thinking about your goal, you realize that soon it will be yours. In fact, it's yours really the moment you write it down and begin to think about it. Look at the abundance all around you as you go about your daily business. You have as much right to this abundance as any other living creature. It's yours for the asking. Now we come to the difficult part. Difficult because it means the formation of what is probably a brand new habit, and new habits are not easily formed. Once formed, however, it will follow you for the rest of your life. Stop thinking about what it is you fear. Each time a fearful or negative thought comes into your consciousness, replace it with a mental picture of your positive and worthwhile goal. And there will come times when you'll feel like giving up. It's easier for a human being to think negatively than positively. That's why only 5% are successful. You must begin now to place yourself in that group. For 30 days, you must...
The only time I'll chime in since I already said goodbye twice, but what he just said there is a form of reject, banish, and deny, and accepting the thoughts you want. So he said every time a negative thought gets into your head, he wants you to replace that thought with a vision of you already achieving your goal, which is a form of rejecting those thoughts that came into your head and accepting what you want to. So what I do, which might be a little easier because not everybody can visualize. So if you're really good at visualizing, I would say do what he said, but you can do both. You can first say, I reject, or I banish, or I deny the thought. And the reality, I deny all thoughts of me not having whatever your goal is. For example, money, or being sexually sexually magnetic or something, or whatever the case was, or a good public speaker, whatever it is. I reject the thought that I will be free from achieving this money, this goal, this public speaking state, and I accept that I will become. I explain, and then I got a comment that just popped up from Mika Vlog PC, so I'll have to make a video on that, but it just distracted me. And I accept that I will become rich, or sexually magnetic, or a great public speaker. I will be however you want to be. And then visualize your goal. That's kind of like what I said every time after you casted for a specific spell, or whatever the case is. Anytime after you said it, forget it, you have faith, you know, what about your day, and all of a sudden you get a thought like, oh, it's probably not going to happen. Reject that and accept that it will happen, and then you let it go again. So just wanted to chime in there and say he even covers that, which is in the book Kabbalah Great Work of Self-Transformation, which I heard it first from Frederick Xavier, who got it from that book, who preaches that as well. And you know, there's many traditions that preach this just in different ways. So anyways, even Christianity has it, and it's get behind me, Satan. You know what I mean? If every time you have a bad thought or whatever, get behind me, Satan. It's, you know, same concept, just religious flavor, as Friedrich Xavier puts it. But anyways, that's enough. I'll let him finish up, and yeah, have a great day.
Don't think about only what you permit it to think about. Each day for this 30-day test, do more than you have to do. In addition to maintaining a cheerful, positive outlook, give of yourself more than you've ever done before. Do this knowing that your returns in life must be in direct proportion to what you give. The moment you decide on a goal to work toward, you are immediately a successful person. You are then in that rare and successful category of people who know where they're going. Out of every 100 people, you belong to the top 5. Don't concern yourself too much with how you're going. Leave that completely to a power greater than yourself. All you have to do is know where you're going. The answers will come to you of their own accord and at the right time. Remember these words from the Sermon on the Mount, and remember them well. Keep them constantly before you this month of your test. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For every one that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. It's as marvelous and as simple as that. In fact, it's so simple that in our seemingly complicated world, it's difficult for an adult to understand that all he needs is a purpose and faith. For 30 days, do your very best. If you're a salesman, go at it as you've never done before, not in a hectic fashion, but with the calm, cheerful assurance that time well spent will give you the abundance in return you deserve and want. If you're a homemaker, devote your 30-day test to completely giving of yourself without thinking about receiving anything in return, and you'll be amazed at the difference it makes in your life. No matter what your job, do it as you've never done it before for 30 days. And if you've kept your goal before you every day, you'll wonder and marvel at this new life you've found. Dorothea Brand, the outstanding editor and writer, discovered it for herself and tells about it in her fine book, Wake Up and Live. Her entire philosophy is reduced to the words, act as though it were impossible to fail. She made her own test with sincerity and faith, and her entire life was changed to one of overwhelming success. Now, you make your test for 30 full days. Don't start your test until you've made up your mind to stick with it. You see, by being persistent, you're demonstrating faith. Persistence is simply another word for faith. If you didn't have faith, you'd never persist. If you should fail during your first 30 days, by that I mean suddenly find yourself overwhelmed by negative thoughts, you've got to start over again from that point and go 30 more days. Gradually, your new habit will form until you find yourself one of that wonderful minority to whom virtually nothing is impossible. And don't forget the card. It's vitally important as you begin this new way of living. On one side of the card, write your goal, whatever it may be. On the other side, write the words we've quoted from the Sermon on the Mount. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Nothing great was ever accomplished without inspiration. See that during these crucial first 30 days, your own inspiration is kept at the peak. And above all, don't worry. Worry brings fear, and fear is crippling. The only thing that can cause you to worry during your test is trying to do it all yourself. Know that all you have to do is hold your goal before you. Everything else will take care of itself. Remember also to keep calm and cheerful. Don't let petty things annoy you and get you off course. Now, since making this test is difficult, some will say, why should I bother? Well, look at the alternative. No one wants to be a failure. No one really wants to be a mediocre individual. No one wants a life constantly filled with worry and fear and frustration. Therefore, remember that you must reap that which you sow. If you sow negative thoughts, your life will be filled with negative things. If you sow positive thoughts, your life will be cheerful, successful, and positive. Now, gradually, you will have a tendency to forget what you've heard on this recording. Play it often. Keep reminding yourself of what you must do to form this new habit. Gather your whole family around at regular intervals and listen to what's been said here. You know, most men will tell you that they want to make money without understanding the law. The only people who make money work in a mint. The rest of us must earn money. This is what causes those who keep looking for something for nothing or a free ride to fail in life. The only way to earn money is by providing people with services or products that are needed and useful. We exchange our time and our product or service for the other man's money. Therefore, the law is that our financial return will be in direct proportion to our service. Now, success is not the result of making money. Making money is the result of success, and success is in direct proportion to our service. Most people have this law backwards. They believe that you're successful if you earn a lot of money. The truth is that you can only earn money after you're successful. It's like the story of the man who sat in front of the stove and said to it, give me heat, and then I'll add the wood. How many men and women do you know, or do you suppose there are today, who take the same attitude toward life? There are millions. We've got to put the fuel in before we can expect heat. Likewise, we've got to be in service first before we can expect money. Don't concern yourself with the money. Be of service, build, work, dream, create. Do this and you'll find there's no limit to the prosperity and abundance that will come to you. Prosperity, you know, is founded upon a law of mutual exchange. Any person who contributes to prosperity must prosper in turn himself. Sometimes the return will not come from those you serve, but it must come to you from someplace, because that's the law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. As you go daily through your 30-day test period, remember that your success will always be measured by the quality and quantity of service you render, and money is a yardstick for measuring this service. No man can get rich himself unless he enriches others. Now, there are no exceptions to a law. You can drive down any street in America and from your car estimate the service that's being rendered by the people living on that street. Had you ever thought of this yardstick before? It's interesting. Some, like ministers and priests and other devoted people, measure their returns in the realm of the spiritual, but again, their returns are equal to their service. Once this law is fully understood, any thinking person can tell his own fortune. If he wants more, he must be of more service to those from whom he receives his return. If he wants less, he has only to reduce his service. This is the price you must pay for what you want. If you believe you can enrich yourself by deluding others, you can end only by deluding yourself. It may take some time, but just as surely as you breathe, you'll get back what you put out. Don't ever make the mistake of thinking you can avert this. It's impossible. The prisons and the streets where the lonely walk are filled with people who tried to make new laws just for themselves. We may avoid the laws of man for a while, but there are greater laws that cannot be broken. An outstanding medical doctor recently pointed out 6 steps that will help you realize success. 1. Set yourself a definite goal. 2. Quit Quit running yourself down. 3. Stop thinking of all the reasons why you cannot be successful and instead think of all the reasons why you can. 4. Trace your attitudes back through your childhood and try to discover where you first got the idea you couldn't be successful, if that's the way you've been thinking. 5. Change the image you have of yourself by writing out a description of the person you would like to be. And 6. Act the part of the successful person you have decided to become. The doctor who wrote those words is a noted West Coast psychiatrist, Dr. David Harold Fink. Do what the experts since the dawn of recorded history have told you must do. Pay the price by becoming the person you want to become. It's not nearly as difficult as living unsuccessfully. Make your 30-day test, then repeat it again, and each time it will become more a part of you until you wonder how you could ever have lived any other way. Live this new way and the floodgates of abundance will open and pour over you more riches than you may have dreamed existed. Money? Yes, lots of it. But what's more important, you'll have peace. You'll be in that wonderful minority who lead calm, cheerful, successful lives. Start today. You have nothing to lose, but you have a whole life to win. This is Earl Nightingale, and thank you.